giving away?
I'm giving away 2 months membership to my women's embodiment yoga membership. And that's going to include womb work and embodiment and working through the cycles through a specific type of yoga that's for women's body, hormones, nervous system. So super excited to be launching that. That's many years coming.
Amazing. That's only, what did we say, 5, 6 prizes? There's so many more prizes. So buy your raffle tickets, buy as many as you can, and all the money of the raffle tickets is going to the organization. Hi! Is going to the organization. So buy raffle tickets. Okay, coming up next, we have the beautiful Tamar Gail. She's going to be talking about honoring your cycles, a holistic approach to hormone balance and fertility wellness. Okay, she's the owner of the Temple of Amara, a mystery school of feminine arts. So she's got a little bit to say about this. Okay, so listen up. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. So good to see everyone today. Usually I'm facilitating an activity, and now I'm speaking, so this is quite new. Thank you. All right, so I'm going off of Ariana's, what she shared about the cycles. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about integration and how we can flow with that. And the reason that I teach what I teach is because of my experience becoming a woman. And so all of us can relate. It's the time that we first get our menstruation and what were we taught around being a woman at that time. And so what we're taught in that moment creates our beliefs in ourselves as a woman throughout the rest of our lives unless we work through that. It's an initiation into womanhood, and we have many initiations as a woman in our life. And so that is the very first one. And my experience with becoming a woman was, I was very young. I was 8 years old. I didn't know what it meant. I was ashamed of my body, and I'll explain why I'm going into this. I was ashamed of my body. I ended up with body dysmorphia, anorexia, bulimia, like you name it, I had it. And I had to learn what it meant to love myself and take care of myself. So imagine now, if we learn how to honor our bodies and work with our cycles, to practice that self-care through the inner seasons, and to be able to teach that to our daughters, our nieces, even our sons, on how to honor their own bodies, their own cycles, and themselves, to practice that self-love. So in your bags, you're going to see a card that I made, and it was supposed to be much bigger than this, but it's tiny. So I will say that if you want to go to my website after today, I'm going to put this on my website so you can download that for free. And what this is, it's a cycle chart that we can use at home so that not only us, but our families can understand what it means to go through our inner seasons, our inner cycles each month. And so, as explained, the spring, the summer, autumn, and winter, there are certain things that we can do and that we should probably stay away from during those parts of the cycle. And like in the winter, you don't want to have those big conversations. You don't want to have those meetings at work. You don't want to think, you want to be able to take care of yourself. You don't need to be cooking. You should probably prepare that before. If you have a family, encourage them to cook for you. Like those are the things during our winter time that we should think about. And during the summer, during ovulation, have those big meetings. Have those important conversations with your family. But how wonderful would it be for the people in our life to understand, oh wait, mom or my partner is going through like her winter season, so let's not have that conversation with her right now. Like let's wait until next week. So this card is for that. So not only can we understand ourselves, but our families or whoever's in our life can understand that. And so I encourage you, if you download that, to grab a bead. And if you have 2 women in your family, if you have a daughter, grab one for her if she's already become a woman, started menstruating. And put a bead on the week that you are in so that your family can start to understand and follow your cycles and begin to understand where you are and how to work with you. So that's what that is for. So integrating and our understanding of our menstrual cycle involves us recognizing the dynamics and the multifaceted ways of working with our mental, physical, and spiritual selves, and how that affects us on many levels. We change every week. And she was explaining a little bit about that. It's developing this holistic awareness of what it means to be a woman and how to work with our bodies. And there are many ways that we can integrate that into our life and begin to implement the cycles, and that has to do with nutrition, eating healthy foods that are nourishing and nurturing for our bodies and our hormones to help us balance. It also has to do with, as she said, like the way that we work out and the times of the month that we're doing certain activities. And in the membership that I was talking about, I think I mentioned it, that you can get on the raffle, is about that. Each week is a specific thing for a woman. Like during a menstruation, it's more of a meditative state because the veils are thin and we're still connected to spirit. During our ovulation, it's more of that fire and embodiment, empowerment of being that queen and activating that inside of our body and really using that fiery energy, because that's more of a masculine phase of our cycle. So really embodying that warrior and using that. So every part of the cycle is for something, and understanding how we can work with our body through how we activate the body, and exercise is another big part of that. Another one is tracking and observing our patterns. And this is what I tell all of my students in my initiation program training is begin a journal. Start a journal and track the phases of the moon. Track your menstrual cycle each day. Track the patterns and the beliefs and the things that are going on in your heads, as well as the dreams that you're having if you remember them. And you start to understand yourself as a woman and throughout the phases each month. So I could go through my journal, and last month I had this belief, maybe I was depressed one day and I was having nightmares, and I can look at myself in the next month and I can begin to track a pattern in myself. And what that does is it allows us to understand that we're not crazy as women. We have these cycles, like everything is normal, and we begin to understand our patterns and beliefs and see, okay, but this is just one day out of a month, right? Like, I've been here before. I was having this conversation with a friend a couple days ago. She was doing this. I'm like, you know that you've been here before? Like, we've been through this cycle. Like, I've been here with you multiple times. She's in menopause, but I'm like, you still go through a cycle. You're still having this cycle every month. So understand, journal, understand yourself on this deeper level, because this is normal. You're going to shift out of this in like a week. So that is another way that we can begin to integrate the understanding and working with our cycles. Aligning work and productivity, and someone spoke about that. So being able to understand when we're most productive, which is during ovulation, and working with that like at work. And sometimes we can't take those couple days off whenever we're bleeding. Maybe we can. Maybe there's something we can work out with our office and be like, look, if you want me to be the most productive, I don't know that we're there yet, but it's going in that direction. If you want me to be the most productive and give the best, then like if I can have like a day, off, hopefully one day we're gonna see that. And I do believe corporations are starting to integrate that a little bit, but it's like trickling. But maybe we could be the change. But knowing that our productivity is at our highest as we're coming to ovulation, and using that to really create, to really birth everything and to manifest, like everything that we were processing, dreaming of, creating with that seed during menstruation, that we can use our masculine energy during ovulation and really make that happen. And if you are in menopause, I think someone also said, you're working with the phases of the moon. So using the dark moon as your menstruation time, really practicing that self-care, and then using your ovulation to make everything happen. And so still honoring those cycles is going to be really important, because what happens if we don't honor those and don't take time for the nourishing, like nurturing ourselves during that like dark moon menstruation time, is we burn out. And that's when we see, like, eventually we think we can keep going because that high of ovulation is like here. We think that we can keep doing that. We can't. Like, men are made a little bit different than we are. They can keep going to an extent. we cannot. Our nervous systems are not made for that. Our hormones are not made for that. So learning how to work with that is super important. That brings us to like really understanding ourselves as a woman, really standing in our power, really being able to show up in the world like as that queen. And if you're looking to get pregnant, it goes hand in hand. Like we need to be balancing that, balancing our hormones with understanding these cycles, working with these cycles. And fertility is a part of that. It's a part of balancing our hormones. It's a part of, whether that's fertility of a creation of a project or you're really wanting to have a baby and create a baby. That is all a part of this. But the thing that I teach in the yoga is that. Like it's not a traditional type of yoga, so it's all about coming into your body, releasing those old beliefs, balancing your hormones, and really understanding yourself as a woman and standing in your power. And it all has to do with that, just understanding who you are is huge. It's huge. I don't know what time it is. Am I early? Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions or in regards to this? I'm open to questions.
So I would have, this crosses my mind every now and then, oh maybe I should think about it, but then I have fear that, well then I won't be productive, you know?
Right.
Yeah, do you have a story for someone transitioning into being more mindful of this?
That's a really great question because I think we all deal with that, right? So if you're overworked and you're like, it goes back to that like honoring, like knowing that you're we burn out as women, right? So if you allow yourself to drop into that space and practice self-care, fill in your own cup first, aren't you able to give more?
Yes.
Okay, it's the same with work. So if you're able to go into that space, practice like nurturing yourself, going into that meditative state, tapping into your womb, like connecting with spirit because the veils are thin, channeling what more that you can bring to the world because that's like the best time for that. You're going to be able to produce more in a more aligned way with what you're here for. Does that make sense? So it's like taking that nurturing time to not just like you're nurturing yourself, your nervous system, your body, but also like you are giving yourself a more aligned path because you're opening that channel for you to connect with your higher self and your truth, and you can give more, produce more in the end. So if you're thinking about it in that way, and also energetically you will have more energy because you can't keep pushing and going and going. At a certain age when we're younger, we have more energy, but as we get older, we start to notice that we don't really have that energy anymore. And so like if we can start that at a younger age and start embodying that and teaching our daughters that, we're actually going to be able to continue that because it's already integrated into our system. So whenever we get to an age like now, like I know my menstruations, I know I'm about to bleed, I'm like, I need a day of sleep. Like, I know, my body already knows. But if I give myself those 2 days, even just 2 days of just, okay, like I could do a little bit of work and then I'm gonna go like, take a couple hours and just take a nap or take a bath or, you know, do self-care. After those days are over, like I am full of energy. And I'm 45, so like I start to notice that a little bit more. If I don't do that, I start to see the pattern, like it just kind of like trickles down to the next time I'm losing more and more energy. And so it's just being aware of your body, being aware of that pattern and noticing, okay, you know what, I didn't give myself, why am I so tired? Track it back and figure out like, were you really taking care of yourself at the time? Does that answer your question?
I always have wanted to be part of the 5 a.m. club. So, because I noticed that when I'm part of that for a big time, I'm very productive because I have that time for myself without getting distracted. Otherwise, when I'm out of that pattern, always the best time for me to center himself is at night when everything is quiet. So what would be your advice to finally do the change and keep it? Like always do it in the morning so you are more productive. So it's done and it actually set up your brain. I tend to do it more at night when I'm out of the 5 a.m. club. And then it's
Do you need to change that?
Maybe that's your
I would love to because it sets up the tone for the day.
Okay.
If I can't do it in the morning, at night I do it, it's more like to wrap up my day and to, but in the morning it's like
Yes.
to start with that energy boost
Yes.
and everything else. And it's always like a battle for me because I'm kind of have the tendency to get now. But we are,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to go against it.
and it's not always going against nature. Like if you look at the cycles, and she was speaking about earlier, we have a day cycle as well. And so the mornings are, it's like you understanding your whole body pattern and aligned with the earth, aligned with the clock, the 24-hour clock, aligned with, like there's nature's cycles as well. So understanding that, it really just takes like discipline to change that. It's just comes to you. I used to be a night owl, and now I wake up at 6:30 in the morning and I'm ready for bed at 10:30. It's like I just changed my pattern, but it's going to take a discipline from you to be able to make that happen.
How long did it take to do it like permanently? Because I have my good periods and then
It probably took about a year, to be honest.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. I gotta go. My time is up. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm gonna put a sign-up sheet over here if you'd like to sign up for my emails. It's there. And then yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamar. Let's give a round of applause. All the facilitators that you've heard today that are hearing and the activators, everybody is going to have their cards, their information in the gift bags that you will take home.